I was 8 weeks pregnant, and it was supposed to be a good day. A few hours earlier, we saw our baby's heartbeat, that tiny flickering dot on the screen. A life, our second child. We were so happy. He turned 27 that day. It was his birthday. I had promised I'd cook him his favorite dinner steak, mashed potatoes, garlic green beans. But by noon everything changed. I was on the floor playing with our 2-year-old when I felt it. A strange pressure. A dull ache that turned sharp. Then blood. A lot of it. I texted him right away. I think I lost the baby. I wanted comfort. Support. He said, I'll come home if it's urgent. I said it was. I was scared. Lightheaded. Our son was in the playroom alone and I could barely stand. Still, I had to clean myself up, crawl downstairs, grab painkillers. I made my toddler lunch, put him down for a nap, all while bleeding. My husband took nearly an hour to get home. He worked 30 minutes away. Later I found out he'd stopped to pick up beer at Tesco. Yes, beer. When he finally got home, he seemed annoyed. Not worried, not gentle, just tired, like my miscarriage was inconvenient. Hours later, after I got worse, vomiting, dizzy, losing blood, he drove me to A&E. We didn't talk much in the car. At the hospital, they confirmed what I already knew. The baby was gone. I don't remember much of the drive back, but I remember one thing. He turned to me and muttered under his breath, "This bullshit ruined my birthday." That's when something cracked inside me. I offered to pay for any takeaway he wanted. I was exhausted, but I still tried. He didn't get anything. He just drove us home, put our son to bed, and went silent. I went to sleep alone, woke up to an empty house. He'd already gone to work. No message, no check-in, nothing. That night I finally asked him, "Why are you acting like this?" He didn't answer. I whispered, "You're a disgrace." He got up, slammed the bedroom door, and locked me out. Later I got a message from his mother. She said I was too harsh, that he was grieving too, that I needed to be patient. She never once asked how I was doing. There's a certain kind of heartbreak that doesn't come from what's said, but from what's not said. From the silence, the looks, the subtle dismissals that make you question whether your pain is even real. And that's exactly what this woman experienced. Let's break it down. At first glance, it's easy to label the husband as simply selfish, cruel even. But let's slow down and truly look at his behavior, not just the actions but the pattern. She miscarried on his birthday. An unfortunate coincidence. But what's more unfortunate is the way he handled it. He didn't scream at her. He didn't tell her to shut up or call her names. But he did something far more insidious. He acted like it was an inconvenience, like her pain was just bad timing. Let's revisit the moment she messaged him. "I think I lost the baby." He replied, "I'll come home if it's urgent." If, imagine your partner, your wife, the mother of your child, sends a message saying she's bleeding, lightheaded, and thinks she's miscarrying your child. And your first instinct is to weigh whether it's worth coming home. That one word, if, is already a wound. A reminder that in her most vulnerable moment, he still needed to be convinced. And when he did come home, he stopped to pick up beer first. Beer. Let's call that out for what it is. Not forgetfulness, not distraction, but a deliberate choice to prioritize his own comfort over her emergency. Now let's look at what that tells us. It tells us he's emotionally disconnected. It tells us his coping mechanism when faced with discomfort is to retreat into distraction, avoidance, and denial. But more importantly, it reveals a deeper trait, a lack of emotional accountability. He isn't just sad about losing the baby. He's angry, but he doesn't know how to process grief, so instead of facing it, he projects it. And who better to blame than the woman next to him? "This bullshit ruined my birthday." Let's be clear. That sentence is a red flag, because it's not just mean, it's incredibly revealing. It tells us that even in the face of shared tragedy, his own experience still takes center stage. His own narrative, his birthday, his ruined day, is the only thing that matters. And here's the thing. When someone shows you again and again that they will center themselves even in your deepest pain, believe them. After the hospital visit, he goes quiet. No comfort. No check-in the next day. Just a locked bedroom door. This isn't just passive behavior. It's passive-aggressive. It's a message, a punishment for daring to be vulnerable. This kind of emotional shutdown is often described in psychology as a freeze response. Some people, when overwhelmed, don't fight or flee, they freeze. They retreat into silence, into avoidance. But here's the catch. That's understandable in the face of trauma, but not when someone else is bleeding beside you. There's a difference between personal struggle and emotional abandonment. He could have said, "I don't know how to handle this. I'm broken too. I'm scared." But he didn't. Instead, he chose to say nothing, to withhold care, communication, and even the smallest gestures of support. In relationships, this kind of neglect is often invisible. There are no bruises, no slammed fists, just slammed doors. But the damage still cuts just as deep. Let's not overlook what she did. While miscarrying, while in physical pain and deep emotional shock, she still fed their toddler, cleaned herself up, crawled downstairs for painkillers, put the child down for a nap, offered him takeaway dinner, said nothing when he sighed and muttered insults, tried to talk to him, called him a disgrace. Not out of rage but out of despair. That's not weakness. That's a woman holding her home together with trembling hands. That's grief wrapped in strength. So when people say, "She was too harsh," or "He was grieving too," let's be clear. Grieving doesn't excuse neglect. Grieving doesn't justify cruelty. And grief is not a competition. But if it were, she carried more weight than anyone. Now let's talk about his mother. She didn't ask how her daughter-in-law was doing. She didn't say, "I'm so sorry for your loss." She didn't even check in. Instead, she said, "Be patient with him. He's grieving too." Classic and heartbreaking. This is a pattern we see across generations. The woman must be patient. The woman must be strong. The man gets to be fragile, withdrawn, entitled. The woman, she must carry the weight of his pain too. This kind of messaging is what traps people, especially women, into relationships where they are expected to absorb hurt without complaint. It also reveals where the husband likely learned his emotional avoidance. From a mother who made excuses for emotional absence. From a household where men's pain mattered more, where women's pain was invisible. So let's name the red flags in this story clearly. Emotional withholding during crisis. Delaying care to stop for personal comfort, beer run. Self-centered grief. Ruined birthday. Punishment through silence and physical locking out. Refusal to discuss the incident afterward. Enabling family member defending poor behavior. This isn't about one bad moment. It's about a pattern of emotional immaturity and unwillingness to show up when it counts. Of course, we're outsiders. But if you're listening to this and wondering, am I overreacting if I feel like leaving after this? No, you're not. Marriage is about shared grief, not competing sadness. It's about showing up, not walking out. And when someone makes you feel alone in a shared tragedy, that's not just a bad day. That's a fundamental fracture in the relationship. Here's what you need to know. You're not being too emotional. You're not overreacting. You deserve to feel held, seen, heard, especially in moments of loss. And no one should make you feel guilty for needing love while you're bleeding. You're not crazy. You're not selfish. You're not weak. You're just a human being, asking for the bare minimum from the person who promised to never leave you alone. And if they can't give you that, it's okay to walk away. She didn't scream. She didn't curse. She didn't demand revenge. She just asked for comfort and got silence. So here's the question I want to ask you. One human to another. Is emotional neglect still love? Would you stay with someone who locks the door on your pain? Or is the moment they turn their back on your grief, the moment they stop being your person? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because someone out there might need to read what you say. Maybe it'll help them make the hardest decision of their life. Or maybe it'll make them feel just a little less alone tonight. You're not too sensitive. You're not dramatic. You're just asking for something that should have been given freely. Compassion.